Bitcoin continues to keep things exciting as we've entered the bullish scenario that I outlined on my last market update, and we've cracked through 118,000 and actually almost put an all-time high above 123. We just tapped 122 and then pulled back, but I do expect this move to continue towards the upside as we've breached some significant zones right here. I think the time to turn around was at about 116 if we wanted to go lower. So I'm aiming for higher now. Not only that, but on Ethereum, if we take a look here, we've also breached that 4K resistance zone, which is probably going to take us to the next all-time highs of 4,800 as there are shorts piled up waiting to get liquidated the higher we go. As you guys can see here, institutional ETH squeeze is the cleanest setup in months, but everyone's overthinking it. 461 million single day inflows while exchange supply hits multi-year lows. Short liquidations, and this is the important part, short liquidations stacked at 4,700 with 1.3 billion on the line. When OTC desks are empty, so that basically means there's no buys happening outside of the market, and institution panic buy into no liquidity, price discovers violently. So we've got the setup for Ethereum in a very bullish environment, and I do think we're going to see Ethereum crack that all-time high with ease, slicing through butter as the liquidations for these shorts sit at 4,700. We might get a little bit of a retest down here, and then we rocket towards the upside, but for the most part, I love the setup on Ethereum, especially since we didn't drop back down to this zone. It's very, very bullish. So going into year's end, I do think we are set up to see an alt cycle like I've been talking about on this channel. Everything is kind of lined up, especially if we look at the Bitcoin dominance. We are actually beginning to crack through here. We got a little bit of a bounce, but we couldn't sustain it, and we dropped towards the downside. So I would anticipate to see this continue to drop towards the downside, especially as Ethereum heads towards all-time high, because when Ethereum heads to all-time highs, that is a signal that the risk is moving towards the lower cap of the altcoins, but it will still take some time. So I would say Bitcoin, Ethereum take center stage for the next month and a half, and then alts begin to see a little bit of that money flow towards them as well. That doesn't mean we're not going to see outperformance in some alts. We will see outperformance in a lot of them as they begin to also take attention. Coins like CRV or Hype or Tau or even Pump. You can see Pump already making moves up, even though a lot of altcoins are a little bit stagnant. Now, one sector I want to take a look at specifically is the AI sector because it has been lagging behind, but I think it's got insane gains to be made this cycle. It's only worth $30 billion, but the market cap of the entire crypto market is worth $4 trillion. So I expect to see this rocket up towards the upside as it has been lagging against meme coins. You can see meme coins broke all-time highs here. You can see meme coins has outpaced AI. And not only that, but if we go to total DeFi, it's also outperformed AI by a long margin. So I think a lot of people are sleeping on AI and it is lagging behind. You've got Tau. It didn't even put in a strong move at the beginning, but you can see I've outlined my zone of interest and have been talking about this on my channel for a while. I do think we're going to rocket up to about 560, and that's going to reignite the interest and spark on the AI coins. If we take a look at FBTC as well, we can see that FBTC has hit a very critical zone here. And if we begin to actually crack this resistance and fly towards the upside, I can't really imagine what price is going to look like on the Ethereum chart. This might be a fast and violent move towards the upside. Given that we've got the short setup, I would expect to see this just continue rocking it up, kind of like we saw back here. When Ethereum gets going, it kind of just doesn't stop. It just moves extremely fast. And this is looking like the kind of move that wants to move extremely fast, but we'll have to wait and see. We've also got Litecoin attempting to break recent all-time highs at $136. We're very close to breaking all-time highs, about 20% away, but it keeps moving up as well, not really letting up. You can see the outperformance on the Litecoin pair. It just wants to move higher and higher. As we have mentioned, that divergence on the longer time frame, especially if we go to 3 days, which we get stronger signals from, you can see that we had that divergence down there making lower lows, but the MACD didn't follow, which gave us a very strong signal that Litecoin was going to outperform, and I have been talking about this on my channel as well. Another interesting chart here to take a look at is market cap dominance for USDT is dropping, which means they're being deployed into coins. So this is definitely a risk-on environment where people are buying up coins and more interested in having their money in the markets. Everything is kind of lining up for a pump to manifest in these markets, especially if you take a look at the total 3 chart. You can see we are extremely close to breaking this all-time high for alts right there. This is crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, so everything besides those two, and we are very, very close, about 14% away to breaking this all-time high. And once that starts, it continues to trickle down to coins like the others chart. And the others chart is market cap excluding the top 10. So you can see this has a little bit more work to do, but these lines right here that you're seeing depicts when we're going to see market tops, because in the past we've seen market tops around the same dates or market bottoms as well. So we saw a top on December 15, 2024. I think the next top comes anywhere between December and January. So we have about 169 days of alt season, and that's not really a long time for alts to make moves. So I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen here with altcoins, how many of them are actually going to pump and win, because we have a lot more altcoins than we did in the past. So I think you have to be more selective about which alts you choose, because we're not going to get as much inflow into all the alts, as liquidity is not going to be able to raise all the boats. I would be more focused on Ethereum than Solana currently, because as you guys can see, the Solana chart does not look pretty right now, as it's underperforming against Ethereum, and I would expect it to, because since 2023, it outperformed Ethereum by a lot. So it is currently taking a backseat. That doesn't mean there's not going to be plays on Solana, but I think most of the liquidity will be flowing into Ethereum and something like the Base network or Abstract or Hype. But there are definitely catalysts for Solana coming up. So I wouldn't expect this outperformance to continue too long. But just something to note that I think as Ethereum especially breaks all-time high, obviously attention and interest is going to be on Ethereum. So that's something to keep in mind. DeFi coins set to make all-time highs. We've got a beautiful accumulation range on Uni, and you guys can see it's moving towards the upside right now, sitting at about 7 billion. I wouldn't be surprised to take all-time highs out at around 25 billion. That's just a 3x. And Uni is still the dominant DeFi app to use on Ethereum. And what really interests me, other than DeFi, is agentic DeFi, because now you're combining AI with DeFi, and Mammo is exactly that. You can see the performance has been incredible since launch back in May. We have a massive move in this agent, even though Virtuals was trending towards the downside. I believe Virtuals dropped about 60% since May, but this specific agent has actually outperformed Virtuals by 900%. So these are things to pay attention to within the Base ecosystem, as money will begin flowing to Base. And I was going to make a video on agents on Base, but it requires more research. But I just want to highlight about the specific agents on Base like Mammo. There's going to be a ton of different agents that you can pick from. A lot of them are going to be a bit LARPy, meaning they don't do much, but they claim to do so. But there are agents out there that actually have a task and something they're specialized at, where you can actually ride the narrative and make massive gains on, as a lot of people are not positioned on Base yet. And the valuations that these agents could hit, you wouldn't believe. Something like Mammo, I could easily see it hitting 1 billion by the end of the year, as it is currently the leader in the DeFi agent space. You've also got something like Giza, you've also got ZFI, but Mammo is outperforming all of them as it gains more interest and narrative around the DeFi AI topic. So what I'll be doing for the next couple of days is simply looking for agents that are undervalued within the Base ecosystem, because I think there is massive opportunity here. You've got agents like AIXBT, not exactly undervalued, but it's still not properly valued to where I think it's going to go at the end of this cycle when AI gets properly valued. Like I said, it's sitting at 30 billion compared to a 4 trillion market cap for whole of crypto. And I think we're going to get AI catching up to that difference between where it is now and where it will be. But just to tick off a couple of names for you to take a look at, something like TIG, something like Flay, take a look at Nice. This is a Zoro coin, it's a meme coin. You've got IndexC as well. AXR by Virtuals, very important agent within the cluster they're working on. But I am doing some research, and eventually we'll release a video dedicated to the Virtuals ecosystem, because there's going to be a lot of gains made there. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys again next time.